Mills have closed across rural British Columbia, devastating the economies of many small forestry-dependent communities. Tiny Harrop-Procter Community Forest has bucked this trend. The Harrop-Procter experience shows that even a small, locally controlled mill can make a significant difference in creating local jobs while adding value to forestry operations generally.
About a quarter of the wood from the community forest is staying in the community, comes 4 kilometers down the hill, ends up here, gets bucked up and runs through the mill, and local builders are coming to buy stuff. So there's a huge benefit there because those jobs weren't here before.
Originally, when we visionized this, one of our mandates we started out with was that we would create local employment, and logging and shipping logs to other mills didn't do it for us. We knew that ahead of time, and so it became part of our mandate to actually create local employment through milling our own wood to a degree. We can't do it all, we're not big enough.
For us it's better because the jobs are staying here, and ecologically there's way less footprint because we're not using fossil fuels to move all the product around. But the biggest reason for the community is the jobs stay home.
It's great. I mean, you're close to home. You're part of a community organization and operation. You're maintaining your own backyard, right? So it's bigger than just going to work and bring home a paycheck.
Simple things like not having to commute to town for work. That's amazing. I can walk here. It takes 10 minutes. But I mean, the other side of it is having business, having infrastructure placed on this side of the lake. It's never really happened before. I mean, we've had a bakery and a gas station, but now we actually have a mill and some sort of industry over here that's actually offering people jobs. Progress, basically. We do have high school students that come down, and like every summer, last summer we had 2, and they're coming back this year. They liked it so much they're going to come back, I think, this summer. Floris is 19. I mean, it's a great opportunity to have a job he lives just down the road in Proctor. Didn't have to go anywhere, didn't have to spend, a year or 2 or whatever finding himself in a city. He just came here and he's set. Really can't argue with that.
I get rides to work and all that, so it's nice to have work that's close to home. Right, so I'm not traveling to town all the time, so it's only 5 minutes away, so it's nice.
Harrop-Procter operations are labor-intensive, creating twice the provincial average of jobs in the woods and far more than that in the Harrop-Procter mill. At Harrop-Procter Community Forest, employment, salaries flowing to local workers, is seen as a benefit rather than a cost.
The milling process in British Columbia is basically put as much wood as you can through mills as quickly as possible with as few people as possible and make as much money as you can. Things have become more mechanized over time, and everyone has to compete to be on the same playing field. So there's less, whatever industry you choose, there's less people per volume working because there's more machines doing stuff that people used to do. There's more work in smaller mills per cubic meter, typically. So you're de-emphasizing the infrastructure cost and ramping up labor, which is a way to offset the lowering of the cut in the province. Well, the latest data, and this isn't going to be exact, but it's close, is we're less than 1 job per 1,000 cubic meters in BC, and a 1,000 cubic meters is about 25 truckloads, logging truckloads. So 0.7, I think 0.8, a little less than 1 per 1,000, and we're at about 8 or 9 here. And this is a small mill. We're milling 3,000 cubic meters a year, but the implications of that, if it gets replicated even 10% of the way around the province, is meaningful.
With newer equipment and efficiencies, the number of jobs per cubic meter is likely to, on average, be going down. I think that having small mills in community forests provides us somewhat of a counterbalance to that. It's not like it'll reverse it, but it will provide something on the other side of the ledger, so that the number of jobs per cubic meter doesn't go down at the same rate. Or perhaps we hit a low spot on jobs per cubic meter and it comes up a bit. Probably not to what it was in 1930 or 1960, but higher than it is now.
And we're not going to change overnight in British Columbia. We can still have some big mills, but we just shouldn't be allocating all our wood to large corporations. Communities, native groups, small tenure holders should have access to wood, and people should be allocated timber based on, the environmental integrity of the plan, coupled with how many jobs they're creating and whether the community supports it, things like that.
Buyers seem to appreciate the values that underpin Harrop-Procter Community Forest's operations, and the mill, featuring Forest Stewardship Council certified wood products, is the community forest's public face.
Through the mill, you have a lot more people locally connected with the community forest because people are buying lumber and they might not even have known much about the community forest on the hillside, except in abstract terms. But once you see the lumber, it really connects, and we really try to work with contractors and customers to explain why we sell the products that we do and why we don't sell old growth products and that sort of thing.
People dig this. They love coming out and getting something that came right from up there that is regarding water is important, and the ecological footprint of the product is low. There's a bunch of local people working, local economies feel better when people get back in the loop, and it's not more expensive. That's the other thing. Cost is an issue.
So I'd say one benefit is definitely that you just bring more people into the loop of what the community forest is doing. Certainly economically, there are certain advantages to having a mill that has supply locally, and that for the mill, that there's an advantage of having the forest can supply what the mill needs in a close kind of relationship that RAMI and I have. For the woods, it's another option, right? We don't provide all of our logs to our own mill. We also provide them to other mills in the area. So we sell on the open market to half a dozen different mills, as well as provide them to our own mill. Sometimes we can send, in fact, wood that is not of interest to other mills in our area. Funky stuff, stuff with crooks, cedar with some rotten butts in it, but still got some good wood in it. Curved logs, all those are potential value-added logs if you have a small mill that wants to work with those. So in some instances, we can avoid wasting product that we can actually send to our mill, which is a great opportunity.
When the Harrop-Procter Community Forest launched, it marked the first time local loggers and environmentalists had set off into the woods together to harvest trees from their own watersheds. While Harrop-Procter's harvest is relatively small, from the beginning it set a milestone toward developing a middle ground in BC's long-standing war in the woods. This road to moderation has not always been easy, but over the years the community forest has put down sustainable roots in its community.
That's been kind of neat to watch the evolution of a little mill grow, because all there is really is big mills around. There's nothing in between anymore. So that's really neat to watch something start out and grow and gain in speed, sort of thing.
As far as I know, Harrop-Procter is the only community forest that has its own mill.
Why is that? I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe it's the way things have always been done. We sell logs to big mills, and you got a community forest, you keep doing that. Certainly we've had calls from other small community forests that are looking at this model, wondering if they can pull the same thing off. And I'm hoping we can be of assistance to other communities over time, because certainly we've learned some lessons here that I would have done differently along the way and so on, and happy to share that knowledge.
I would say invest in one. You don't have to start big, start small. Get a mill, look for local clients. That's what most of our wood is sold locally. And it wouldn't hurt our bottom line at all, because we're just such a small local mill that we don't aim to be selling wood elsewhere. we're just doing fine right here.
Harrop-Procter has gone 2 steps past the typical community forest by implementing an ecosystem-based plan as well as value-added strategies led by its mill to expand local employment. Every situation is different. The Harrop-Procter approach won't work everywhere, but there are lessons to be learned here for any forestry-dependent community concerned about protecting the local environment while creating sustainable local employment. For more information on Harrop-Procter Community Forest and on community forestry generally, visit our website at www.bcruralcenter.org. Thank you for watching.